We have so much stuff to stuff in, so many stories to pay off, so many songs to sing. And so I also hope people really feel how much love we put into this, because we wanted to give the fans and the cast that sort of end game experience.
Awesome. It's so great to get to talk to you. Oh my goodness. Clearly, I'm a huge fan of the show.
Thank you.
Well, just to start off, these characters are going to be featured extras in High School Musical 4. I know that, several members of the original cast has obviously been involved with the show, but how was it to be able to bring so many back at the same time for this?
It was, High School Musical explosion. It was, we sometimes are shooting Addie's Tie itself. And so we'll take over like the real life teacher lounge as the actor holding area. And it was looking around the room and it was like, there's Miss Darbus and there's Coach Bolton and there's Chad and Taylor, but there's also Ricky and Gina. It was really special. And I think the vibe of what season 4 really is, which is a celebration of the franchise and also like a real graduation season.
Well, we obviously got to talk about Ricky and Gina.
I know you're Arena. You're Arena, Rachel.
Totally Arena. I've been Arena, I think, since the very beginning of season 1.
You were an original. You were like a pioneer.
I do pride myself in that. But did you, as the creator, ever imagine that this relationship would become, not just so important to fans, but to the show and this character and these characters as a whole?
I don't know if I did. I knew because people have heard me talk about growing up with Dawson's Creek, and so I have a real affection for these types of will they, won't they shows that were important to me. I mean, I am a big believer that with rare exception, your first love does not end up being your last love. And I think Ricky and Gina needed to separately go on their very important, beautiful journeys with others before they were able to really find each other. And I think the question of season 4, the final season, is, they're the right people for each other, but is it the right timing? And I think that's what we really try to answer. But gosh, it's so fun to write for Josh and Sophia. They're just amazing.
Well, there is actually a question that fans have been dying to hear your take on. And it is, have you heard of what they call the Rena cue?
The Rena cue?
Yes. So there is a instrumental that plays in the first season when
it's the da 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 da.
Yes, yes, that's it. They would love to know how that kind of ended up being an ongoing instrumental throughout the show.
I love that cue, written by Gabriel Mann, Emmy nominee, I think for our show. The Rena cue, that's so funny, that phrase. So they're in the homecoming car, and I remember saying to Gabe, spend some real time on this cue, because if this works out, we may bring this back a lot. And it's a really beautiful, simple piano cue that actually comes back, as you might be able to imagine, a couple of times, at least in season 4. I don't know, I grew up in an era with media where like, there'd be a romantic movie and there'd be a song in it called like Sarah's Theme. I'm dating myself. And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool if the star couple of this show had their own theme? It's a little vintage and throwback, and not every show does it anymore. But I think they are the beating heart of the romance of the show for me. And so giving them their own theme is a signal to the audience that they are important and worth paying attention to. And I just think it's a really beautiful tune that comes in and out throughout season 4. The Rena cue, I learned something today.
Yeah, it's been a huge thing ever since the first season. People have really loved that every time it comes back. So, that's awesome to hear about. Well, High School Musical 3 I think it's definitely the fan favorite in the trilogy for a lot of people who grew up watching the show. Or the movies. So were there certain songs or performances that you really wanted to make sure you included this season?
I mean, there's so many great songs in High School Musical 3, and boy, did they back the money wagon up for that movie, because it's like the really high production values and so many songs. Yeah, I mean, I was very excited to see Frankie and Dara sing I Want It All. that's like a spoiler and I don't even care because you see it in the trailer. Those two characters, that song, really exciting. There's, of course, some Josh Sophia stuff. People have been requesting the song Scream for years. And so tune in August 9th, binge season 4 drops all at once. Hopefully you'll stay up long enough to see Scream. They were all really cool songs to explore. You're the only outlet I'm telling this to, which is that the episodes this season are in some cases a bit longer than they've been in previous seasons because we have so much stuff to stuff in, so many stories to pay off, so many songs to sing. And so I also hope people really feel how much love we put into this because we wanted to give the fans and the cast that sort of end game experience.
Well, looking back, what has kind of been your favorite storyline to explore throughout all of these seasons?
I think any storyline about identity, whether it's Carlos and his sort of some of his body issues at summer camp, Courtney with anxiety, Ricky, who's a very clingy, loving person who comes from a divorced family, Gina, who hides her competitiveness or really hides her vulnerability behind competitiveness. Unfortunately, I could go through all these stories, Ashlyn and Big Red and their sort of burgeoning queer identities. All of those stories matter and resonate to me because as much as I think of the show as sort of a dramedy with some broad comic moments, it's really that high school experience of figuring out who you are that's most, I think, emotional and really leaves an impact on the audience. And those are the stories that really excite me. Or EJ, I could just talk about them all. But like EJ with college and the dad and wanting to live up to the family legacy, these things are, I think, really topical for young people. And those are the stories that I'm really proud we got to be able to tell.
What about performances? Do you have an all-time favorite?
I will always sentimentally love Born to Be Brave. I won't call it a favorite, but it was the episode that I felt started to really the intersection of emotionality and identity and music and relationships and soapiness, but comedy. I don't know. I'm really proud of that homecoming episode and the whole team that made it. And I think the theme of Born to Be Brave, as a gay person who was not out of the closet in high school, was not a safe thing to be in the late 90s. I'm so proud we finally live in an era with its own challenges, believe me, where an actor like Frankie Rodriguez and Joe Serafini can bring a story like that to life and dance together in a high school gym, which is actually so innocent. And I wish I had that innocence when I was in high school. And I'm so proud we got to sing that song.
Obviously, all good things must come to an end, but fans are already asking, do you think that we could ever see these characters again someday in one form or another?
Yeah, yes, of course. In a never say never way, right? Right now, we're all really focused on August 9th. Like, I want season 4 to be our biggest season ever. I want this cast to feel celebrated. But in the never say never, Gary Marsh is the former president of Disney Channel, now the incredible Io Davis. But Gary said to me, we tried to reboot High School Musical for 10 years and we couldn't figure it out. I feel very lucky that I apparently had a take that worked. But who knows what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, college. There's a lot of different places we could take these characters, but for now, they're definitely graduating from high school, and I hope the audience tunes in and graduates with us.
So did this feel like the right time creatively for you guys to end it? With Ricky graduating, doing, High School Musical 3. Was this just a choice?
It did for so many reasons. Creatively, because he was graduating, and because there are some couples and romances that finally start to come together this season where I was like, I don't want to see this get ruined. But also creatively because I have multiple showrunner friends whose shows end on a cliffhanger and they don't get renewed and the fans are upset, the cast is upset. I really felt like, as a tribute to Disney and the fans and this incredible cast and crew, that we ought to go out on our terms. And so, I think if you watch season 4 to the end, and I hope people do, they'll see that we really tried to thank everyone on screen and also wrap this thing up and graduate.
So, all right. Well, oh my gosh, Tim, thank you so much for chatting with me. You
Rachel,
are,
always a pleasure. I really
oh my,
appreciate your enthusiasm. You're really a sweet person and it means a lot. Thank you.
also, thank you so much. I cannot wait to see what season 4 brings. I know that we are all super excited.